Good morning. I'm here with Yurik Mamedov and Mr. Mamedov. My name is Catherine Van Kampen, and I am an attorney from the United States, as well as a YEZIDI supporter, an advocate for the YEZIDIs. We are here as part of the YEZIDI Week Worldwide, which is taking place the first week of August. And I'm so delighted to have Yurik and his dad with us. Yurik is a very famous athlete, YEZIDI athlete, and his father is here this morning to tell us about the family and the family's journey from Armenia through Europe, and also tell us about Yurik's journey from France to the United States. And then we're going to spend about an hour talking with Yurik's dad and Yurik about Yurik's career as a world-class athlete and boxer and his journey all the way to New York City. I am so thrilled to have Yurik here with his dad today and all of his amazing trophies and belts, and we're going to have a whole hour to talk about Yurik. So good morning, Yurik and Mr. Mamedov.
Good morning.
Tell me where you are right now.
Now we are in France. In France, the city of Paris. That's where my parents live. That's where I'm spending all the time of the confinement with the coronavirus. I've been here since March.
Since March, okay.
Yeah.
And typically, you reside in New York City. That's where you train. And you've been there
Yes.
for a couple of years. And we're going to talk about that later. And Yurik, we should probably just say how we first met. And why don't you tell that story?
So I was very happy and grateful to meet you. Actually, it's very important to people to realize that there is few people like you who are really involved the time, the energy for the YEZIDI people, in the United States, and the YAZDA, YAZDA team introduced me to you, and I was able to work together with different events, around, in New York City for the YEZIDI cause, because I'm very, involved. I'm trying to be as much as I can be involved with the YEZIDI people. So you are an amazing person who helped me, and we did a lot of things together and a lot of things still to do.
Yeah, and we're gonna keep doing great things together.
Absolutely.
We've met with lawyers to help the YEZIDIs. We did an event at the New York City bar together, and together with other YEZIDIs, and there were many there that night. That was wonderful. And we're going to talk about your foundation, your dreams for your foundation, as well as the brand that you've developed. But first, let's talk to your dad. Good morning, Mr. Mamedov. I wanted to ask you to please tell us about your family and your family's journey, and explain to us who are the YEZIDI people.
Procedit kari sava khwab beji, pashe sava izja sava nafay khwa.
ناظم فیضویان فیض سامند اسو از جدایی که خب من دولت ارمنستان برای سوویتیک دولت سوویتی کالباوی من ازدیان اما 1900 سال 15 دولت ترکیه سویگون مونه خاطر دولت ارمنستان وقتی سوویتی uçağı amacın genocida Ermeniya ezdiğimi tevayı el uçağı dağıtın muhtemelen jiyan kadın devlet Sovyeti Ermenistan yaptığını jine Osam yani boş bir bunu ezdiğimizin Ermenistan'ı bırakıyor diye gele. Persze Mahmudش baş biya tabi Rusa. مخواهم بیشتر چون اسکر سوئد هرتش باش بیان وقت مری که فرصت کنه بیا بونا ایزیا شاملت کچو گله قبول نکنه حتی نادا تبرمان نمی‌صدراتی گله ملت کی سوئد جان خواهد کرده ناگه گله روسیه دژین هر باجره که روسیه دژین ایزیا گله باش دژین هرچیان باش بر وقت کمونیست کردن دی رفت کردن و هر ملتی هم بیشتر نمیشه داد کردن جرمنستان گله ملت دیشتن نمیشه شرط کردن آذری تا ارمنیا شهرش دست بید و تا گرج تا اوس گله همیشه سوویت پرسی مازن چی مونه همیشه باید کتنا دولت سوویت دی uçağı gel Ermenici dekatın çuna Avrupa'yı, çuna Amerika'yı, sajez ya Asuriya. Em az xaxajı bavi Yurik uçağı ki az Ermenistan'ı dekatın amne Yurik ne salim. Ama Almanya.
So Yurik, can you tell us in English what your dad just said, summarize it, and then we'll let him continue, just so the audience knows.
So he just explained, about him, who he was, where he was born, his parents' name, and the situation of the Yazidi in Armenia, of the back in the Soviet Union, how the Yazidi was able to integrate themselves into the between the Armenian people. The Armenian people give a lot of respect to them,
right?
Because there was the Yazidi people were like a brother to them,
right?
They wasn't doing anything bad. There was, and they went through. Also, he explained how they went through the genocide of 1915 with the Armenian,
right?
Where a lot of Yazidi people helped Armenian during that genocide. So he explained up a little bit of this, and then he explained, how the life started to change in the 90s when the Union Soviet started to break down, and then everybody started to leave the countries, and that's where he was. He was able to tell us now how he moved from Armenia to Europe.
Right. Okay. So please, Mr. Mamedov, continue your story.
Amin. Beratya Ermenya u ezdiya gelek jwrat yani Cangir ağa tevadanik patşamışın dabuna havdu şehre Türk'a kirna Perji Usuf Bey hem neviçer ki Usuf Bey'in Usuf Bey tev komitas Usuf Bey wan hana parlamento Ermenistan'ı gel kalke Yurik o buna uğraşı Usuf Bey Cangir ağa gelek berati قانون چکر تا ارمنیا او ازدیو حتی نگوش اوقات قیمت دمینه گلک باشه ارمنی همین نال بالای دنیای بونه تا ارمنیا ازدیو آمریکای فرانسیای هر در صادراتی دمینه ایسا قدری هم دگرین اینجا اصابو ام دکتن هاتنا آلمانیای نودنه ها سال عظم نست نودنه ها من 2 سال آلمانیای مونه برم چونه بلگیه زارا کماجی گرمانیا متدنه کچک برای هم سال که جی بلگیه مانه 2000 تبیرم من وقت نیویورک تقاندن uçağı ya dine نیویورک همون هوا fakat az uçağış Belge hatna Fransa Paris'e 2001 سپتامبر 2001 سپتامبر حتی ندم جان خبر فرانسه ندار باز کردم او باشه همونش باش زار ما باشن ملت ما باشن گله.
So now I'm gonna translate what he said.
Yeah, I can understand a few words. I can understand Yurik and a couple of the countries.
So and then he give couple of names.
Yeah.
كنت نبغى نبغى بيجي مش مزانبن tego Jahangir Agha, Andani Pasha. So it's Jahangir Agha actually was my grandfather, like he was like a grandfather for Yazidi people, and he was a very recognized person with the Armenian, like a general in Armenia. People still have his name in the book because he was a very, very important role in the Yemeni genocide. So he helped a lot of Armenian people. So he was talking about them, and then he was telling, you know, how we moved from Armenia, you know, to Germany, to Belgium, you know, and then he was explaining that when we left Germany, when we came to Belgium, and actually he was telling the dates of the September 11, when New York, the two tower was burned down. That was actually, we just arrived in France. So this why he remembered that so much. So we arrived in 2001, like in September, which September, what my Français? Yeah, 2001, September 2001, we arrived in France. So he remembered that in New York, that the tower, that he remembered that part.
Yeah.
So here we are.
So here you are. Mr. Mamedov, you seem to love the Armenian people and Armenia. I understand that the largest Yazidi temple in the world outside of Iraq is in Armenia. Do you go back to Armenia at all?
هميكا از ارمنستان هزدكم از زورات مدنه هاول كم من ورن ارمنجي ام فرقي دانانا ام وقت ملتا كينا و رما ريا بميرزي چولو و بميرزا جي زيارت شكر ام زيارت هي امش گريدانا مدا معرفه مقارن كر و اساجي ام براتيو متمي تاورمني هبيا نا ديسو امجن من أرمني يزدي وقت ملتك يعني ما أنو شر أنو غرباء يجي توازريا problem مازنن و أم وقت ماريكي وقت دبرا أم مراد دجين بالدولة و أم فرصنا بالدولة أرمنيا كان أم بري هذا.
So he was saying that he is very very happy that, you know, the way Armenian people was treating Yazidi people down there. And he was saying thank you to Ape Mirza, who is the person who built the Lalash in Armenia.
Right.
And very thankful, you know, to him, and that he built that really, and the fact that Armenian people allow us, the Yazidi people, to have a temple in the land of Armenia.
Right.
That show how much they love us and they support us to let us do that.
Right.
For that reason, it's even now it's even more deeper as a connection from being Armenian, living in Armenia, and now having a temple like Lalash out there. And he, you know, he go there very often. He have most of his family, they live there. So yeah, it's like he's
oh, he goes back.
Yeah, he go back like my father go back at least four or 5 times a year.
Okay.
Yeah, he go very often. Yes. From Europe is not that far.
No, that's
because we still have our home, the home that where I was born. My father decided to keep the house, rebuild it, make it, everything's brand new now. The house that he can go there and remember the most precious part of his life, which was being a child and living in this house.
Wow, that's an amazing story. And it's wonderful to hear his love for Armenia, and the fact that the Armenians and the Yazidis, both whom have suffered from genocide from their neighbors, that they have kind of this sad connection to one another, but through that connection they're able to appreciate each other and love and support each other. So that's really wonderful. And I'm sure it makes Yazidis just all around the world feel very proud to have one of their beautiful temples in Armenia.
Absolutely.
Great. So does your dad, can your dad talk about you? What were you like as a child? And, you know, the importance of retaining, if your dad can talk a little bit about who the Yazidis are and what you believe in terms of your religion, and how he tried to keep, you know, raising you and your siblings in France and all these other countries that you went to retain your Yazidi identity. How did that play a role in raising you?
Okay, so I'm gonna put that in two questions that are gonna be easy for him.
Okay.
First part, you're gonna talk about me. I'm gonna ask him. تذكري خبر دي بونا من چا زارتی چا بوازو چا مازن بو چا تزانه بو که ببیا مری کی ساق و پیش بو چون هبیا باشه دیدن وقتی کاری بیشی چیکه سوایز جایی که تکارم که از دکم چه که میری بکنه که پیش بو ناز ده به که نوی خبیر نکن مال خبیر نکن.
یوریک جدی خبیس عذر ناسب نودی زارا که هم عقل بیا زارا که چوکی دا جدی لجون بیا سامن قال لي معك جانك تقول عندك هو ترانسبورت هزبك يعني قدام سما که هم هات باجر کی پاریژ اندمان جنار کی ما هر نوی مالک بوم مالک ترینر بوکس بوم یوریکش دگاره اگجی بوکسه بعد و هر دلنا مالک جن راست پرست کرد و میشو برای جی بوکس دگرم خود کنیم و بوکس ازم ترینر بوکس نه اوسط کتر بوکس فکر چند ساله فرانسیه چند در پاریس همیشه شپنا بیا گل همی قازان جایی همون جی زده کرد و ما دی اصلا دو همیشه سپورتای بوکس دا پیش داشت شوناوه میریا پاریس همیشه یه بوکسه شو رو خاطر نه که بشینه بازار نیویورک چون بوکسوره که باش بنا دولت فرانسه کارا گله تشت باش بینه پیشتون دولت فرانسه و چو نیویورک نو به زحمت تشلاده زحمت گله کشان یوریک سه نظام و زمان نظام و شکل نگه زمان جزانه انگلیسکی هر تشتی همکتایی براتیایی آمریکای بازار نیویورک هر کالیفرنی بوستون هر درجه همالیگانه قبلی هیا جمعی گلکی اجرا اجازه دچم تیم آمریکا ببینیم قبلی از شادم مکی زارا کسام شیرت کردیه جمعی کی باش.
So that was what I said about me now. So I said I was born in 1990 in Armenia, and I was always a intelligent kid. That I was always listening to what the adults were saying. I was able to really remember everything that they were saying about the community, about the culture. Even the young age, I was able to absorb things like this. And they were also saying that, you know, when we moved from country to country and we came to France, and was living in a city where, you know, I was looking for a boxing gym. One of our neighbors, when he was an old man, he was in his 50s, I went to him and said, you know where I can find a boxing gym? And this man, he said, I have my own boxing gym. So that's how crazy things are, because since his day, he's still my boxing coach. So the man who I asked him where I can find a boxing gym, he was actually that person who went to the boxing, who became my coach, and now he's still my coach. And he said he was very thankful for Maliki Canada. You know, that's his name. And then he was saying that, you know, I had good results in France that made me be able to through all the challenges and the, the hard work to carry the professional boxing, because like everybody knows, that didn't come easy. So that was a lot of sacrifice, a lot of hard work, a lot of discipline to be able to achieve that. And when he was saying that he was coming to New York, he was happy to see that I was able to go to a country like the United States by myself at the age of 19. And then when he came there and saw everything I was able to, that I achieved and established, my friend, my family, my boxing gym, my boxing career, he was very proud and happy to be my dad.
Excellent. Well, your son you should be very proud of your son, Yurik. And he should be very grateful for your support.
Absolutely. So now I'm going to ask him, you got to explain about YEZIDI.
Okay. Okay, Yurik, there's something with the volume or your mic, just a little bit. It's a little fuzzy.
Okay, so let me try like this. If I put them down.
Okay.
Can you hear me better or not?
Much better.
Can you hear me better?
Yes.
Okay, so I have to put it back though.
I can't hear you now. I can't hear you now. I can hear you.
Okay, so I just have to, just 1 second.
Yeah.
Yes, can you hear me now, right?
Perfect.
Okay, so I don't hear you very well, but I'm gonna try. So go ahead.
Oh, you don't hear me very well. Okay, sorry about that. And then your dad was going to talk about the YEZIDIs.
Okay. نگفت کاری سوا از جان خبری که نه از یشقات نه چه سو از جای خبر.
You're
gonna talk about YEZIDI a little bit.
Yeah. So who are they? What do they believe? And
could mean again easy Iraq Hasan channel the chida ne the having chika marike kinazana kena easy children kena
is the ملت الكامة قال الكامة و is the أو سمالك دعينا is يا أميجن أمي بنجاونا مزبوطنا بيان تيجر يفرط براوي جامع تيجر يفرط عراقي وراج برای پیش از یا ورا بونه. او جنا شنگال همیش کنکوژی همیش از یا شنگال چه بود؟ جی وار از یا ور بیاد می. نراست همگو همیش ترکیه چونه اوی ارمنستانی پای گناسیدا همیش ارمنی نه از یا. ل همیش عراقی چونه ترکیه. جی از یا برای پیش همیش تیگر یفهمی مزبوطانی بیاد. و ناگه از یا دنگش دید زنی همیشن همی فرمان گلا سر از دگی نتید. یا هفته چهارم بود یا 2014 3 آگوسته او یا هفته چهارم فرمان هفته چهارم. و از دید تمیاد نقره. از یا دمینن شنگال کردستان دمینن یا برزانی لالش نورانی بود همیشن زیرت مزن بوده و از یا دمینن ترکیه کم مانه نگاه گل هندک مانه همین جیانا رنی بیاد گشت مال حالی خشنه ترکیه چونه گل چونه آلمانیا مانه گرمانیا گل دجین از یا نگاه از یا فرانسیه دجین از یا دولت امیجن سلمانی داره از یا تننه گلک یمن امیجالی سوویتی هم بیشن آذربایجان نزدیک تنه ولی وکشتنه ترکیش تنه امی از یا گرجستانی گلبون جورجیا از یا ناگل روسیای گونتنه گزی تنه هر دری روسیای از یا دژین اون رند دژین گله جیانو گله هم دمیجن از یا روسیای لاب رند از یا روسیای اما زی روسیه جی ارمنستان میتونه روسیه جون اونو گله کنه سربستن هرتش ایزنا اون هرتش جایا ل از دی امیش نواس عرب دمانه نواس اونو تمی امیشن دنگ بریدن اونو مافیا اونو تنه بیه اونو ایزنا اونو تشتکتنی بحثن نگا اما اونو چه بیشن امیشن گله جفا دید نه ما هستن نکنه نوک مری اورا همچین ل دولت روسیه وانر مافیا گلرن ازیا همتش باش بیا دو ازیا نه ازیا دا مری باش گلرن همین پارلمانت پوتین زلیم خان موتسوی وزدیه دیپوتات گوزدوما روسیه همین گله دیپوتات روسیه هنه ازدیا گله بیزنسمنی مزننه همین جورجیا اجلیسا زیارت ازدیا چه بیه هایستان دیسا هات نه چه کرنه پای همین میزدن چه بیه گله ازدی علی ازدی یهش عراق اویش گله علی کاری ازدیا کر از خاخا از اسوسیاسیون ماهی همیشن فدراسیون ازدی فرانسیه هم تف تاماز دستین چه سرکاری همیشن پریزیدنت اسوسیاسیون ماف فدراسیون ازدی فرانسیا همجی گله همیشن علی کار دکن همی ازدی گله اش عراقی وقتی روینات شنگاله برا باجره که ناوی فور باخه کلا که پاریجه هم تمی اسوسیاسیون هم پر علی کاری هم دکن بونا ازدی تنگاسی تمی هم علی کاری دکن از جیان ازدی نه همیشن آقاسی گره دنی همی چاوی خواه که ببینه همی ازدی تمی تقره قیزی وانا همیشن مدی داشا چقا برن حتی نگو دست داشا دون همیشن ازدی همی که بارده که قرنا 21 وکی میره شارژه کن ویجوره ازدی چه سری ازدی کرن برچاوی تمام دنیایی و همی عالی همیشن فدراسیون ازدی فرانسیه و از توقع همیشن امریکای دنیای دکن وکی اروپای پیشا بنا برنه یعنی ازدی بقاله دنیایی دا ندید لار او شنگاله
So Yurik, can you tell us what your dad just said?
So he was, giving a brief introduction of the YEZIDI people, which is to people understand that the YEZIDI people, we are a small community of people all around the world. Unfortunately, we don't have a country.
Right.
So we have the biggest part in Iraq, which is called Shangal, where in 2014, the 2014, where the genocide, the 74th genocide happened against our people.
Right.
And still for the same reason, the reason are very known. And it's very sad. He was saying that in 2020, that still somebody can be killed, ripped, and take away from his family just because of his belief, or because he was born. We don't really choose who we born or where we born. So it's very sad to see that still happen today. That's one of the reasons we're sitting here today.
Right.
And he was saying that there is YEZIDI all around the world. In Iraq, the biggest community, Armenia, Syria, Turkey, Russia, in Europe now. And we are that very important part of the people is to understand that no matter where we live, we still keep our beliefs.
Right.
Like an Armenian or in Russia, in Iraq, we fight for our rights.
Right.
Which is very hard for the small community as we are. So, and there's a lot of people who do things for YEZIDI. There's people in the YEZIDI community who try to bring awareness. There's people outside the YEZIDI community like you, Katrin, who try to bring awareness. And he was saying that really the main temple is in Iraq. Right. Even though his grandfather, they moved from Turkey to Armenia, but the main temple is in Iraq. That's where is the land of the martyr, if I can say it. And he's very, you know, he's grateful to be Yazidi, and he's very happy to be able to stand and say who he is, and believe in his beliefs, and he be thankful for the people who fought until today to keep Yazidi alive, you know.
Right.
And like he was saying that, you know, he always teach at home, even though we live in France, which is, you know, so which he tried to teach us, his kids, to don't forget the language, the culture, the religion, you know, everything that have to be not forgotten, because we don't have really a book. So it's really by a messenger. Like you have to tell the kids, and kids tell to kids. So that was a little bit the resume that he made from
Right.
the Yazidis.
So just so the audience understands, the main Yazidi, the holy place of the Yazidi people is Lalesh, Iraq.
Yes.
And that is, if you were to make an analogy, you could say Lalesh is the equivalent of Vatican City for the Catholics.
Yes.
It's where your holy priests live, and the Babas are there, the Baba Sheikhs,
Yes.
Baba
Yep.
Kawasha, and
Yeah.
so, and that is where your martyr is buried, and you have beautiful temples in Lalesh. Baptisms take place there. And can you ask your dad, there's a part of Lalesh, it's a room where only, I believe, Yazidis are allowed to go into, and they tie knots.
Mm-hmm.
They tie fabric with knots. Does your dad
Laleş'da ya Irak'ı çike uta tane ezid katte kevida ura tela va be ne çelkin.
Evet.
Otkari sa oy beji. You want him to explain what it is, what is the room?
So my understanding is that the tying of, can he tell us what, if he knows what the tying of the knots is about, and that you're tying knots for what does he know what the tying of the knots is?
Zani ki çuma uta ke iki tane ezid katte kevida tkevro ne geçiken. Evi ne sa çitiken.
ورا مش ناو ازدي مش ناو يعني هيك قال لك برضه كان ازدي مش ناو قال لك كمان النوجي هو شو مش شانس خواه اللي بخت خواه سوخ ناتشو ماورو تخازم هرم لناتشو ماز لان الشيء عم قالتش تامجن از هيكي ناو بيجم تاكراسني لا از قالتش نظام امجن اما چند سال باید فرمان 14 باشه دی همین چون ناتنی معتب از عراق سوریه باشه مردم تبناس کرد هم سوویت مزمون دولت سوویت هم قال اینفورماسی محور تنه بود بره از رن نظام اکی همش رن شروع کم.
So he said like he never been there, so he don't want to give a wrong answer or a question because he never been there. From what he heard, he says it's a very religious room that people who are very religious easily who go there, and the night is to make a wish.
Right.
To make a wish. That's is what so that's what he know. But he said he don't want to give more. You know, he don't want to say something that may be wrong because he never been there, and you know.
Right.
So this is what he said. But from what he heard, is for when they go there to make a wish.
Right. That's what
to solve something, a bad luck or something, take away or something like this.
Yeah. Yes, that is. So it's a very beautiful room, and it's. My understanding is also that it's a good wish or a prayer. So can your dad tell us just one last thing, and then I'll let him go. Tawuzi Malek is the main angel. Tawuzi Malek can your dad talk about what your angels mean to the Yazidi people? My understanding is there's 7 of them, but the most important angel is Tawuzi Malek.
Vet kore so Tawuzi Malek neki Chandelier beji. Chu savajjo o chi značite I čemu sa ki mazne savajjo. Čemu sa importante.
Amen. Tawsi malak ambijen malaki haft malakoya. Ami sabo deni gish ki biya tawsi malak ambijen. Almani division amina perkic ambijen tawsi malak. Tawsi malak malaka ina ambijen. Angela. Angela. شاید همیشه سبب من همیشه هم دنیا گش همی خواهی داریم پیش خواهی هم داریم هم دوین ملت ما دوی پای خواهی رو توصی ملک همیشه بونا دنیای گشکی مثلا اوشی نه همی هفت ملک دنیای دنیا نه هفت سیم آنگل و توصی ملک سر وان گشتم مزنی وانو یا و همیشه جوی داریم.
So he said that the Tawsi Malak is first of all Yazidi believe in God.
Right, of course, yes.
That's because a lot of people they may think that people Yazidi believe in Tawsi Malak, which is the angel. No, we believe in God.
Right.
Tawsi Malak is like the messenger, like he's our angel, like you just said, and he's the one of the most important of them, and he's the more like I'm not like the most valuable, and those people give respect to him.
Yes.
And he became like the angel of YEZIDIS, you know, and this is from thousands of years.
Right.
Yes.
And he when in terms of his
just people who that's how you know every YEZIDI should have it at home.
Yes.
So you know that's how we look, and we the angel, you know, with the color, the beauty is you know.
Yeah. So you stole the words right out of my mouth. In terms of an earthly being, Tawuzi Malek is takes the shape or is incarcerated in the peacock angel.
Yes, peacock.
He's the peacock angel. So the peacock is a very holy symbol for Yazidis.
Yes. Yes.
So please thank your father so much for joining us this morning. It was such an honor and a pleasure. And maybe we can do this again, where we can spend some more time with your dad. But for now, we're gonna pivot to you, Yurik, and we're gonna focus on your story and all of the great things that you're doing and what you're gonna do in the future.
Okay, so you're gonna just say the last word before to leave.
Okay.
زاف رازیمه و کی ما بعد دادر باز کرده زاف رازیمه که اون بونا ملت ازدی خازن تشکی علی کار بسکنم از وارد خازم پیش داشتیم ساعت قوت پیش داشتیم وارن مالی آوا.
So he said first, but thank you, thank you to Yazda for doing this to be able to bring, and he is very happy to be able to be part of this, to bring awareness, to let talking to people, and he is very grateful, and may people keep doing what we're doing, and hopefully more people are gonna start doing and bring awareness to these people. He said thank you so much.
Tell him thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you. Okay, Yurik, you're up.
Yes.
Okay. So, Yurik, first of all, thank you so much for having your dad with us this morning.
Of course.
That was really a beautiful thing. And it's really important that we all understand the older members of the Yazidi community, the elders, they really have so many amazing stories to tell about areas of the world and of history that many of us don't know much about. I can tell you that I had never heard of a Yazidi before the genocide of 2014. When I first heard of Yazidis, it was due to the fact that the Yazidis, it had come across the wire in New York that on CNN that the Yazidis were stuck on Shingal Mountain and they had been surrounded by ISIS. They were there for approximately 7 days without food, without water, without shelter. And when I heard this, I turned to my 2 colleagues and I said, who are the Yazidis? And no one knew. And then we started Googling and we found you, Yazidis. And ever since then, you know, I've always followed Iraq for like 30 years. I had a friend who was, one of my best friends from college is Iraqi. So I've always followed Iraq's history, but I had never heard, even in all that time, about the Yazidis. And then about 4 years ago, I started to really do volunteer work for Yazidis because I had heard about all of the suffering due to ISIS, which was horrific. And in this journey over the last 4 years, I've met the most amazing, amazing human beings who are Yazidis. And you are such a beautiful community. Your religion is so beautiful, your history, and it's very important to me as a human rights advocate and as a lawyer and someone who loves history and appreciates humanity. It's really important that we help through conversations like this, help folks understand who the Yazidis are, why it's important to preserve their community, that the Yazidis have a global diaspora who live in countries all over the world, like your dad was saying, and that Yazidis are an extremely peaceful people who integrate into whichever society they become a part of and are very successful members of the societies that they join. And you are, quite frankly, one of the best examples of that because of your family's history and moving from so many places. So I want to talk now about you, and tell me about your early life. Where were you born? How many siblings do you have? And what was like for you growing up? And then I want to talk to you about, and I know your dad touched on this, but I want to talk to you about how you got into boxing, and what are the most impressionable memories that you have of your childhood that propelled you into this the world of boxing and how successful you've been now. So I know that was a lot, but let's just start with your early life and your family and where you were born.
Okay, yeah. So first of all, I was born in 1990 in Armenia. You know, and then my parents moved. I kind of moved from Armenia, Russia when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So I was, you know, as a kid, the memory I have is very little when I was young because I never had like a friend or stay in the same place more than maybe 4 years. We always moved to places.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm gonna say until the age of maybe 12, I think that was the part where I really was the most challenging for me as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Like when people always say like, live your life as a kid before living your grown man life. And I didn't really have the opportunity to have the kid life, like have a friend, go to school, like the simple life of a kid. I didn't really have that.
Right.
And so when I just came to France, so I have a younger sister, a younger brother, and an older brother. So we are 4 of us, and my family is like 5 people, 6 people actually. So we was always together,
Mm-hmm.
all from places to places, to city. We always were together until we came to France. And
Mm-hmm.
at the age of, I may say 14, I was already feeling so much experience of life. I felt like I had so much experience already at the age of 14, 15 years old that when I was, even as a kid in France, that's where really because in Germany and Belgium I was kids, so I don't really remember so much about it. But I remember in France when I was going to school, the fact that me and my brother and sister wasn't speaking French. And how the kids are, they're very, kids are a little crazy. So they was making fun of me, my brother, because we don't speak French. So I had to kind of defend them, make sure that, they don't get hurt or they don't get, they don't get mad. So I was getting into a fight sometime. So I was a little bit, some trouble at school, not because I didn't want to study, it's just, it was hard to manage the pressure of the people you receive. A lot of aggression of people, you have to deal with it. You're not comfortable with people because of, they don't like you,
Right.
or you are different.
Right.
And as the kids, we don't understand what is really to be different. For
Right.
them, if you're different to them, it's something bad. Actually, that could be something, if you are just different, that don't mean that you are worse or better.
Right.
So, that was a very challenging part for me and my brother to grow up in France, and until the age of like 16, 17, when I really we start to be, little older. I speak better French, so I was able to communicate with them better. And then I was at school. I was very energized. I was a very energized kid. And one of my teachers, I remember, she told me, why you don't do an activity like a sport where you can just use your energy to, instead of fighting in school. I said, yeah, maybe you're right. So then that's when I came home and asked my father, I want to do boxing or something similar. And then he said, you should ask your neighbor. He must know. He lived here for like a couple of years. So then when I asked him, he answered me, I have my own boxing gym. That was something, that was a sign already for me, like, wow. Wherever I was looking, the first person I asked, and he owned his boxing gym. It's like, that was a blessing for me. And until this day, he's next to me. He helped me, support me. And every time I have a fight in New York, I make sure that he come there to be in my corner, because boxing is a lot of it's more than just fighting. For him, it's very important to have him in my corner. Like my father, always he come to my fights. He's in my corner. So he's everything went kind of smooth for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was able to really take advantage of the situation I had. And I felt like boxing wasn't really for me, like in the beginning. I didn't like it. I didn't like to fight, actually, at all. I was fighting because I had no choice, but I didn't really like it.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when you have to do something, you don't really, you have no choice. And I started to feel comfortable with boxing. After a couple of months, like maybe 6 months, there was a competition in Paris, and everybody was doing the competition. And my coach said like, "Oh, I'm gonna put you also in the competition." And people was like, "You crazy? He just started boxing. He's not gonna win. He's gonna get hurt. Don't do it. Let him more time." He said, "Believe me, I want him to do it." So there was like about 15 people in my boxing gym who participated in this competition. I was the only one who went to the final. And everybody had like years of experience. I was the only one who went to the finals, and I lost to the final, very close decision. And then I felt like, wow, if I can do it to go to the final with so much experience, what's gonna be if I have more experience? Then it gave me motivation. I worked hard, and I had the best result in my boxing club, and the city have like a compensation of the best athlete of the city have the opportunity to go to the United States. So I was very motivated to go there. So I worked very hard, and I was able to I had the most result. I was the best athlete of the city. And I had the opportunity to go with my coach from here to New York, where I met my former coach, and now, and since I'm here, I'm living there now.
Yeah. So how old were you when you went to New York?
I was 19 years old.
19?
18, yes. I was, people don't realize, I was always my family, and one day I just at the age of 19, I just took my bag and just left like with nothing.
And you went to Brooklyn.
Brooklyn, yeah.
Uh-huh.
I was living in Brooklyn. And it wasn't easy. It was very hard. Like, honestly, this is like, it was the most challenging part of my life. Like, it was more challenging than boxing. You know, New York City is a crazy city. It's like everybody's, nobody care about nobody. You have to hustle. Like, you have to work hard for yourself.
Right, you do.
You know?
It's true. So you've been in New York for 10 years.
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's a
10
long
years.
time. And
Yeah.
look how much you've achieved.
Yes, you know, people are like 10 years seems a lot, but everything I've done is like I have literally like 10 years of experience in boxing. And
Right.
some people, they just 10 years, they still are amateur. So in 10 years in boxing, I was able to get to the level I am, have the result I made, and I was able to be the person who I am today and be able to, you know, have the YEZIDI be here today, sitting with you, involve my time, my voice. You know,
Mhm.
yeah, I have a voice that can be heard. So I want to make sure that I use my voice for my people.
Right. So you have many beautiful trophies behind you, and I see 2 belts. Can you explain to us what those trophies are and your belts?
Yeah, so I'm gonna start with this one. I don't know if so. So this belt,
Mm-hmm.
this
Yeah.
is the United States Boxing Federation champion. I was the United States champion at 140 pound,
Mm-hmm.
which is 63 kilos in United States, the whole United States. So that was my belt from last year, 2019.
Congratulations.
Thank you. 2019 was a great year. This is the World Boxing Association for the Caribbean champion. So this is a world title belt based on the Fede Caribbean and North America.
Right.
So the WBA is one of the biggest organization in boxing. So if
It's
people know
huge.
boxing, they know WBA. So this is a very significant belt also, you know, and this is more like worldwide, which give me a lot of you know, opportunities. And I have many bad things still in the United States, you know, that are still left there. And everything you have behind me, of all these things, like this. Actually, this funny. This is maybe you know maybe this place,
Yes.
the Union League.
Yeah.
So this is a foundation event that I did in 2014, November 14, 2014. That was in New York, Union League. They did like an event, boxing event. I was able to be part of it. That's from there. And everything you see behind me.
Yep.
So, and this is actually Fight of a Night. This was Detroit from New York. This was in 2000, I think it was 2012.
Okay.
2012, I had this reward. That was New York City against Detroit, so I won the Fight of the Night. And all these trophies are from France. All these medals, everything, that's what I won in France.
Boy, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yes, I have many more, and on the top of the top, this is my boxing, you know, the dress I wear in boxing. Tim, don't be sorry, be careful. With
right.
my logo.
That's right. So since we're on that topic, and I also want to talk to you, you have the YEZIDI flag there behind you?
Yes, right there. Yeah.
And you have obviously your peacock angel, Tawuzi Malek. And then you have your Save the YEZIDI shirt, and good. I like it. It's great. And then the team. So don't be sorry. Be careful. That's your brand, right? That you have clothing and that you sell online, and that is a message that you send, including to YEZIDIs. So what is that message? What's behind that message?
So don't be sorry, be careful is my clothing brand.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be sorry, be careful is really to it's a message, a way of everybody can recognize himself. Like if you don't want to be sorry, be careful. So if you think before you act, don't act before you think. If every person in life think before acting, they won't do as many mistakes, because
Mm-hmm.
it's when we do mistakes or do things bad that we have to be sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't want to be in a situation where we have to be sorry. Like, let's say what happened with the YEZIDI people, right? If the ISIS just come and they say sorry, a sorry is not enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The sorry is not enough. So they had to be careful before to doing what they did in 2014. So this is a very message for everybody. And I use that. I have a website, don'tbesorrybecareful.com, where I have a lot of merchants, like Save YEZIDI is one of the clothing, also the design we have,
Mm-hmm.
And most of the t-shirt that I sell, money goes to my foundation, Don't Be Sorry, Be Careful Foundation, that we're trying to establish slowly.
Mm-hmm.
And to be able to, to be able to use my platform, my boxing and the sport and my clothing brand, to be able to really help and evolve, to bring awareness and help the YEZIDI community.
Right, right. It's fantastic. It's really amazing what you're doing, and how you're using your platform to be a voice for Yazidis. So I want to go back a little bit, and then we're going to circle back to your brand and to your advocacy for Yazidis. But I do want to go back a little bit, and I want to ask you, because many Yazidis are in similar circumstances as you, in the sense that they have had to either they were forced to move, or they chose to move their families to other countries for better opportunity. So you have large Yazidi communities in Germany. I believe there's 100,000 Yazidis living in Germany. You have a Yazidi community in the Netherlands. But you have Yazidis all over the world, Canada, America. We have in Nebraska over 10,000 Yazidis, Australia. And for Yazidis who are struggling to kind of find their way in their new countries, what part of your journey do you feel best is most relatable to the journey that they are on, and what message would you give to that Yazidis who are going through similar challenges of constantly having to acclimate to new countries and communities and environments?
Yeah, so what I went through as a child,
Mm-hmm.
as a, when I was we never really had a home.
Mm-hmm.
It's very similar than these kids who have no home now. They have
Right.
they live in camps.
Mm-hmm.
So I really can understand and feel their pain of not having home, going to places, just to simple things of life, which is just to live.
Mm-hmm.
To even a simple thing to just have a place to sleep and live, that take away from you as a young kids.
Right.
So it's very, very, very hard to go through all of this. And my message will be for these kids, like I'm grateful for what I have, but I understand that it wasn't easy. And I know that if I was able to go through all this, they can do it too. It's just they have to make sure that they understand that it's not your race, your religion, the place you live, the money you have that make that define who you are. Like you can achieve everything you really believe into it. That you put all the hard work and all the opportunity that you can get, you just put all together, you can make it happen. It's like you put the disadvantage we have, like let's say the things that we go through, that sometimes can fuel our body to be motivated.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I believe that everything happened to me and the YEZIDI, that give me a motivation to work harder, to be more successful, do it more, and not only for myself, but for everybody, you know, because I know that kids can just watch me and be motivated. And if I can make one kid motivated and be able to do something with his life, that's a win-win situation for everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great message. And what I see from the YEZIDIs who I've met is that they all want a better life. They want safety, security, happiness, the ability to fall in love, have a family, have children, take care of their parents, take care of their children, have career opportunities, educational opportunities. And I think that that's one of the things that I personally spend a lot of time on safety, security, well-being. There are many advocates, trauma specialists, Dr. Sanders, who you've met, who's worked with YEZIDIs, but also just some of the programs that we've done with YEZIDIs. We've sent 3 YEZIDIs to London to a diplomatic program, global diplomacy program, to teach them how to really open the world to them as to the diplomatic world, so that they can have that, be a part of that world and use their training to be ambassadors for the YEZIDI people. Because YEZIDIs, wherever they are, contribute, and they're a part of society and communities. In Nebraska and in Texas, there's also a large community. You know, when there are floods and hurricanes, YEZIDIs are out there in the community helping their fellow Americans who are suffering. And so there's an enormous well of generosity amongst the YEZIDI people. And I think what you're saying is, as much as these children are struggling, that they should know that they have value, that their life is meaningful. And even though they are really suffering right now, especially, I believe there's 200,000 to 300,000 YEZIDIs in the camps in Iraq who have been displaced in Chagall. These YEZIDIs are living in horrific tents, and tent cities that were never meant, tent cities were never meant to be for 6 or 7 or 10 years. But unfortunately, the YEZIDIs are really, really suffering right now. And I think, I hope that your message and the platform that you have, you can continue to advocate for the YEZIDIs to either have them move back to Shingal or have immigration opportunities overseas. And it's in the days of COVID-19, it's very difficult, but also there's unfortunately a sense among some countries that they don't want refugees and they don't want immigrants. And I think that's a really bad position for countries to take officially. The United States, for example, we're a country born on, born from, in part, immigration and welcoming refugees. And I would love to see more YEZIDIs in America. I would love to take every single YEZIDI to America, but then that wouldn't be good. That wouldn't be good, because then they wouldn't be in their homeland in Shingal and Lalesh. So let's just, I want to ask you, I want to go back to your career, your boxing career. And I want to ask you, because life as an athlete is very, very difficult. So to be a boxer, you have to be in top shape. You have to be extremely disciplined. You don't get to eat everything you want. You have to train all the time. So what motivates you to to basically take a very, this is a tough journey. I mean, you have had a tough journey and you've made it even more challenging for yourself. What motivates you?
Yeah, so boxing, as be an athlete, is not easy at all.
Right.
You know, you have to really live, breathe, and eat and sleep boxing.
Mm-hmm.
And in the beginning, wasn't easy. Wasn't really. It was time where I was like, what I'm doing this for? Like, I should be just having a job. You know, I wouldn't have all these headaches. I would be like everybody, and I would be just, you know, a regular person, just living my life. You know.
Right.
And it's like I feel like I was meant to be who I am today. It's like I feel like it was always a something with me that was driving inside me, that I had to fight for, like, to give. I'm not gonna say motivation, because everybody has his own motivation, but I had this belief. It took time to me to understand what it was, until I found out it was really to fight to help people.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is like, if people didn't help me, I wouldn't be where I am today, because I didn't make it by myself.
Right.
Like, I had a motivation to see my parents, first of all, to be my parents proud, because they sacrificed everything to come to for us to have a better future. So the
Mm-hmm.
fact that I see my parents to be proud, that's giving me motivation already.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very, very proud motivation for me. And then to see that everything I was doing inside, outside the ring, that the huge community, our community, was behind me. That was the man. Like, it's more than just boxing. It's more than just a sport. It's for the whole country, if I can say. It's all the people around me. It's all around the world. You know, I get in a point where I wasn't doing that only for myself anymore. If that was only for myself, I wouldn't be as much motivated. Like, all the messages that I receive, every people, like, they take me as an example. I have the, I must be an example for them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm in a situation where everything I do, everything I say, they take a note and they do it. So I have to make sure that I do the right thing, because a lot of parents also, when they, you know, they send me text message, or they call me this, they are very thankful, because the kids, they look up to me. And they're
Mm-hmm.
happy that the kids look up to me, and not look up to somebody who do or a blogger or a YouTuber who do like crazy stuff. They are
Right.
very happy to see the kids. They look up to somebody who truly care about the YEZIDI, who
Right.
care about what I do, what my image. I don't
Right.
do drugs. I don't do alcohol. I don't party. I clean. And they know if their kids, they do the same thing I do, they will have a good life, because it's a clean life, it's a discipline of life, it's a hard work, a dedication. So that gives me motivation. Yeah, it's just, and to able to raise the flag of YEZIDI when I go in the ring, this is is the most important. In life, I want to be, I don't want to be remembered just as a Yurik Mamedov, as a professional fighter. When I'm done with boxing, I want to be remembered. Yurik Mamedov is, his platform is to help the YEZIDI. I want the kids to, to say, oh, I want to be like Yurik Mamedov. Oh, you should do like Yurik Mamedov. You see what he did. I want to be an example for these kids and for the people to have somebody to look up to, and have a, don't be ashamed of, and I'm happy to be able to make them be motivated and be proud to be YEZIDI. And that's my most biggest motivation. Yeah,
That's
it's more than
amazing.
it's bigger than me. It's bigger than me.
So that's amazing, everything you just said, and good for you. And the YEZIDI community definitely needs you, and it seems as if that you have found your calling, and you feel like helping the YEZIDI people find their place in the world and be proud of the fact that they're YEZIDI is your calling and
Yeah,
part of your destiny.
yeah.
That's amazing. What other message do you want to share with the YEZIDIs and share with the world this week? And the reason I ask you is that this week will mark the 6th anniversary of the genocide by ISIS against the YEZIDI people. As a result of that the initial attack in August of 2014, you had hundreds of thousands of Yazidis displaced from their homeland of Shingal. Many died. Thousands of Yazidis died. At least 10,000, my understanding is, were kidnapped by ISIS fighters, including young women and girls. We have several thousand who are still missing, and some are in Syria and other countries. They've been kidnapped and taken from their families. Some of the children were so young when they were taken, they don't remember their families. And I know that the Yazidi community wants every single Yazidi back who was stolen from them. The Yazidi community wants the perpetrators of these human rights crimes, these war crimes, put on trial for the crimes against humanity and the enslavement and exploitation of the Yazidi people. What is your message to the world about what happened to the Yazidi people in 2014? What do you think the world, Europe and America and world leaders owe the Yazidi people in terms of helping them recover from this genocide, rebuild their homeland in Sinjar, Shingal, give them opportunities to immigrate if they need that, and also in terms of physical and health and psychological educational support? What do you think the world, what do you want to say to the world about that?
So if you they're gonna do something against it, we have to make sure that something like this never happen again. I don't want to see a woman or girls be kidnapped and raped, no matter the relation of the country. I don't want to see that. And to be able to avoid this kind of situation, because that can happen to everybody. But we don't, you know, as a human beings, we don't people don't care until that happens to them. So I want to say to the world, just let's not forget that we are all a human being in this world. We all deserve to have a life. And the Yazidi people we haven't done anything bad against. So it's not like we've done something bad and we get punished. No, we haven't done anything bad to nobody. You know, we just want to be happy and free, you know, and be living our life, you know. Mm-hmm. And there's countries who still don't recognize Yazidi as a genocide. Mm-hmm. I think the first thing should be done is to the world recognize Yazidi genocide officially. You know, to be, and then I want each country to help. Every country, if they can help the Yazidi who live in their country, it'd be already a big thing. A country like France, if they have 2,000 Yazidi to help, that's nothing. Mm-hmm. You know, they can't do it. You know, right. And these 2,000 Yazidi, each country, they are part of the country. They work, they pay the taxes. They try their best. Right. And it's not like, you know, every country you can do Yazidi are really, we try to be part of the country. You know,
absolutely.
So we're not doing any criminal things, nothing bad. We just going to, you know, everybody's very friendly. We just, every country should just try to help people who need to be helped. It can be Yazidis or doesn't matter which country or religion. We are, you know, we have to make sure that we understand that we live in once, and everybody living with us in this world need to have a proper life, you know, right. Proper lifestyle. And I mean, you know, like it's sad. It's sad that until 2000, like we are 2001, 2021, and still this kind of things can happen. Right. This is one of the reasons, you know, I have my T-shirt Save YEZIDIs.
Right.
Because we need to be saved, you know.
Yes.
Yeah. Beside people who already are living in countries in poverty, there's people who they can't even live. They in camp. They are literally in camp for years already.
Right.
Like I want everybody who listens to this to imagine themselves to be in camp with the family for years. How are they gonna feel? You know, we have to understand the people in the situation. It's very sad, and I'm not talking about somebody did something bad, they get punished. It happened just one day. We just wake up and the ISIS came and kill and kidnap everybody for no reason.
Right.
There is no reason, there is no really reason, and I hope that the world gonna start to do something, and to be able to the world to hear us, we need to speak up. If somebody don't know about a case, they're not gonna act, right? So we have to. I'm talking about now the Yazidi. We, the Yazidi, need to be more. We can ask help if we don't help each other. First of all, there's Yazidi between different countries. We need to help each other first. To build a house, we need to put a brick at a time. So everybody put a little brick, it's gonna become a big house, and the Yazidi gonna be seen around the world. If the world see that we are a strong community helping each other, they will help us too.
Right.
Very important.
So Yazidis really need to stick together no matter where they are in the world, no matter what, because there are differences amongst Yazidis. They're not, they're not homogeneous in terms of just different things. So, in any community, you're going to have different parts of the community. So it's very important that
my case, my background is from Armenia, right?
Right.
It's like I could say, oh, my Armenian Yazidi, that's fine. I couldn't be worried about the Iraqi, right? I could, but no, I want to show them the example. It's not because my sister wasn't touched or my partner that I have to be quiet. I'm doing, there's also one of the messages, not because it didn't happen to you or your close ones, loved ones, that you have to care. You have to be care and worry about and do something.
Right. So it's a global community, and there has to be global cohesiveness, because what happens to one Yazidi community, for example, what's going on in northern Iraq right now, in Syria, for example, also in Afrin, where the Turkish military has have come in and destroyed Yazidi temples, and also forced conversion from Yazidism into Islam. That's very problematic, and we should all care about what's going on in Syria and in northern Iraq, because this is a community that is really suffering and needs the world's help. And if we don't help, I'm afraid that the community will get smaller and smaller.
Unfortunately,
get unhealthy, will not be healthy, because they've been through a lot of mental trauma, physical trauma, probably the worst type of trauma that one can go through. As an American, I know the Yazidis were great friends to the American military during the Iraq War of 2003, and when the Americans were in Iraq. Yazidis were our translators. Many Yazidis had the opportunity, who worked for the U.S. government, to come to America and settle here. And there are many, many Yazidis who are still waiting to have their visas processed, to have their applications processed to come to the United States. And I believe America has to keep its promise to the Yazidis, because without the translators and the translation services that they provided to our military, we would not have, the Yazidis saved a lot of lives, saved Iraqi lives and saved American lives. And so America, along with the other coalition countries, many of whom were in Northern Europe, Australia, Canada, actually have a debt to pay to the Yazidis. Yazidis, I believe, need to keep reminding those 19 coalition countries of the those countries' responsibilities to the Yazidi people, and to and keep promises that were made to the Yazidis, that if they were told they could immigrate to those countries, then that's something that we, for example, me as an American, I feel an obligation to keep that story and that narrative being told, because it's very easy for a military operation to come into a country, do whatever it's going to do, and leave after it's made promises. And so we just have to keep reminding the American government and the American people about the sacrifices that Yazidis made for Americans. I want to tell you that I would love to see a Yazidi temple built in America, the way you have one in
That'd be great.
Armenia. So probably in Nebraska or Texas, because that's where a lot of Yazidis live, although they are also in Michigan and New York.
You know, talking about, based on that, I would never talk about it, but I'm gonna be having a small one in France.
You have one, or you don't have one?
No, we don't have. I would be happy. I would love to, if you can build, if I can be part of building one in France. That would be amazing too, because we have a big community here.
Right. So I think one of I think a goal for all of us should be to, I know that Yazidis, many Yazidis feel very tied to Iraq, but and that's where many of their temples are. But I would hope that Yazidis will also want to have temples in the countries where they are immigrating to, and so that they also realize that they have a permanent home in their new homeland. So in Nebraska, for example. And one of the things I will encourage the American Yazidi community is to make sure that they incorporate their religion here, and also have their priests come to America, even if it's just for a visit, to basically minister to the Yazidi people, because all of us need spiritual guidance. We all need to be reminded of our humanity and our connection to each other. So I do hope that's one of my goals in terms of Yurik, encouraging the Yazidi community to really feel at home here and feel safe in exercising their religious rights, and that know that they can have a temple here and they can have their priests here. So we're coming up on the end, and I just want to ask you, is there anything that we didn't cover that you want to talk about? Is there a message you want to talk about to your fellow Yazidis, or a message to Americans or anyone else in the world that you want to say?
So first of all, I want to say thank you to you. Really, thank you for everything you've been doing, for your time, for your energy. Thank you. Thank you to YAZDA for this platform. Thank you to being one of the the most involved with the Yazidi community. They have been doing this for years in the United States, in the world. So thank you to them. Thank you to United States. United States give me the opportunity and the platform to be able to do what I do today. I want to say thank you to my parents, who guide me. I want to say thank you to all the Yazidi who listen to me. I want to say thank you to all of them, because no matter what we go through, we have to find a positive energy, because we can't just be defined by things happen to us. We have to see these challenges fuel our body, our mind to do better things for our kids, for our future generation. We go through this right now. We want to make sure that our kids don't have to go through this, that they will be proud of us fighting for their future. Everybody who watching this and they want to know what they can do. Everybody can do a small thing, just to speak about it, just be involved any type of way.
Mhm.
You know, again, we can build I can't do it by myself. Nobody can do it by yourself. Everybody, if more people we are involved, more YEZIDI gonna help us support each other.
Right.
Let's not forget this. We not gonna be able to receive help, or we can ask for help if we're not helping ourselves.
Right.
So we need to be able to support and help each other before different people are gonna help us. Because if people see that we are all together, we're helping, we're supporting each other, they will support us. You know, we have to, each of us are the mirror of YEZIDI. When we go out, we talk to people, we are representing YEZIDIs. So if I look good, if I look bad, if I say something bad, and they're gonna say, oh, this YEZIDI person wasn't a good night, oh, I know YEZIDI person, he's a bad one. So we have to all make sure that we're an example for YEZIDIs.
Mm-hmm.
Comport yourself as a YEZIDI, as a person, you know, as a good person, and a simple good person, and a citizenship, you know, every country you are. And, you know, and I'm gonna keep doing and trying my best to bring awareness and help my community. And hopefully one day, you know, everybody gonna achieve their goal. That's what I want. Everybody who have a dream and goal, just believe in it, work hard, and give you the opportunity to do it, and you're gonna make it happen.
Well, that's a wonderful message. Thank you so much for your time today. Yurik, if people want to get in touch with you, can you just tell us what your website names are, where they can find you on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter?
So anybody who want to support YEZIDI, they can go to don'tbesorrybecareful.com. They order this T-shirt. Every single money of this T-shirt goes, you know, I'm putting on the side to my foundation or a different type of foundation that I send the money to help the YEZIDI. If you want to follow me, because we need a lot of followers. Like everybody will listen to me. More following I'm gonna have in social media, more people are gonna see it. So on Instagram is Yurik Mamedov. In Facebook is Yurik Osmanyan Mamedov. In LinkedIn is Yurik Mamedov. And in Twitter is Yurik Osmanyan Mamedov. The social media is a new way of talking. So just go follow me, and we're gonna be able to spread the word and let the world know about our trouble and the YEZIDI genocide.
Yeah. And just one last thing, Netflix, right? You have a trailer on Netflix. I don't have time to show the trailer, but you can post that to your website maybe later this week after this interview. But why don't you tell us how you came into contact with Netflix, and what are they doing? They were following you around. Can you tell us what happened there?
So Netflix, we doing like a documentary movie. So it's gonna be in 3 parts. The first part has been done, and now we're waiting to do the second part. That's gonna be literally following me, my life, my journey with the YEZIDI, with everything I've been doing. They are very interested, and they feel like people need to hear what I'm saying. So that's something. I'm gonna have more news, and it's gonna be hopefully very soon available on Netflix that people can watch it. And there's another movie that I was involved as a co-producer called 3 Days in a Hole with Candice, Corrado Candice. She's a producer based in California. She did a movie where I was involved about the YEZIDI called 3 Days in a Hole. 3 Days in a Hole, and you can find it. And also 3 Days in a Hole is gonna be available in Lalash TV. Now I was able to get the rights to them to publish it. That was a gift from me for them. So everybody gonna be able to watch it through Lalash TV, and I'm gonna be able to post it on YouTube and the Lalash TV website. It's a gift for me to people, you know, it's just another way of helping my people.
Yurik, thank you so much for your time. I'm so
You're
glad
welcome.
that YAZIDI introduced me to you a couple of years ago. You're such a blessing to the YEZIDI people. You're a blessing to me. You're a complete inspiration to every single person you meet. And just know that if I can support you in any way. I know we have a lot of work to do when you get back to New York on your foundation. So, you know, I'm really looking forward to that. And we hopefully after this COVID-19, we will we'll get back to work.
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
So thank you
Thank
for
you.
your time and have a wonderful the rest of your day.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.